Okay, so lately there's been some things that have been on my mind. So I'm here to tell you what they are. And that is about the kids that my daughter goes to school with and what they get up to at school. It annoys me that I get judged for being young than, the average or whatever by the other mums, but meanwhile my daughter's not the one going around threatening to punch kids in the face, and I'm not the one sharing my racist stereotypes and opinions with the kids that I'm supposed to be looking after during aftercare. So something needs to be said, and here it is. I don't know whether you don't know what your kids are up to at school. Like, I don't know whether the school is telling you when they get in trouble. I don't know whether you know and you just sort of put your head in the sand like you don't want to know, or whether you genuinely don't know anything and only know what you see at home. In my opinion, I don't think it's acceptable to be having kids that are like 8, 9, 10 years old threatening each other to say, like, if you do this, I'm going to punch you in the face. I don't think it's acceptable that they're so nasty to each other. I mean, I tell her, treat people how you want to be treated. If that happened to you, then how would you feel? So I just don't understand why other parents wouldn't be doing the same thing and, wanting their kids to be pleasant and not out to ruin other people's days. I would be completely ashamed and so embarrassed if I were to hear from any that my daughter was doing some of this stuff and saying some of the things that I get told. Don't get me wrong, my daughter is not being singled out or targeted or bullied on a regular basis. This is like just nasty, bitchy stuff that's going on, and it's not regular. It's just, I don't know, whenever they feel like it, I guess. Just, singling people out, leaving them out of things, and just the language that they're using is just like, my God, I thought when I was in primary school, thinking back, I'm thinking, wow, I was pretty extreme. But shit, these kids, I just don't know. Like, this has never been a problem at the school up until this year, when she's been in with the year above. And the year above are straight up a bunch of nasty bitches. And I don't know whether you know. I don't know whether you think that your kids are all fantastic and sunshine and rainbows. Today, without fail, at least one of those girls, mind you, they never act alone. Like anything, it's power in numbers. You get them on their own and they're fantastic. And it's like they just pick who's going to be the target for that day for their fun and games. And it just annoys me. I'm the one that has, spent so much time instilling as many life lessons and morals and ethics into my daughter's framework, because I know that this is going to upset a lot of people, but this is my opinion. This is what I believe, and this is the standards and expectations that I set for myself, and that is I hold myself 100% accountable for everything that my daughter says or does. Everything. People say it's not the parents' fault, whatever, and you know, they're their own people and whatever. But in my opinion, that's a cop-out. We're talking about children that are 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. When you have a child, they're born as a completely blank canvas. They are the product of their environment. What you instill in them and the beliefs that you give them and pass on to them and demonstrate, it's not about what you tell them, it's about what you demonstrate to them. And, you know, to the mum who shared her racist stereotypes with my daughter, who is half Vietnamese, was completely out of line. I don't care how minor it was. A stereotype's a stereotype, and to be sharing that with my 8-year-old is completely inappropriate, especially when you're there to look after the kids after school. You're in charge of a decent sized group of kids. Are you sharing these points of views with all of the children, or, you know, how does it work? And at what point, what in your mind tells you that that was a good idea to tell the girl who's not good at sport that you thought she would be because she's Asian? I mean, I'm about as Asian as a meat pie, so, you know, I don't appreciate being looked down on by people who clearly haven't got it right themselves. I hold myself responsible for everything that my daughter says or does, because when she came into this world, she knew nothing. And everything that she has learnt since that time has been a result of, yes, school, but has, you know, the choices that they make and the part in them that tells them, you know, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, or I should be doing this, or it's not a good idea. That's based on what is allowed to happen at home and outside of school. You can't blame other kids at school for your child doing or saying something, because if children have strong ethics and morals instilled in them, then the kids at school can say whatever they want and tell them whatever they want, but they'll stand their ground and say, no, that's not the right thing to do, so I'm not going to do it. And that's just how it is. There's a reason why my daughter doesn't do that sort of stuff, and it's because of the things that have been instilled in her at home. And yeah, I probably sound up myself and whatever, but I've had it. I've had enough of my daughter coming home and telling me all the nasty shit that these girls are doing at school and saying at school. Like, you know, being on the slide and blocking it from everyone else and then saying, oh, if you come on the slide, I'm going to punch you in the face. Like, who are these kids? And where are the parents, is what I think every day when she tells me something new. Where are the parents? Because if I knew that my daughter was doing any of this stuff, and yeah, you can think it's minor, they're just kids, it's a phase. You can make all the excuses in the world. It doesn't matter, because I don't make excuses for my daughter. Anytime I notice something that's not right, if it even looks like she's thinking about doing something out of line, I stamp it out straight away, because where do you draw the line? If it's okay today and it's okay tomorrow, then how can you turn around 5 years down the track and say, you can't do that anymore, it's time to be a grown-up? That's, you know, it's either okay all the time or never. That's the way that I operate. And that is why my daughter is not doing the stuff that these other kids are doing. I've had it, and I would be so embarrassed to hear that my daughter was doing any of this stuff. And I just think, like, surely these parents must not know, because if they did, they'd be sitting their kids down at home after school and giving them a good talking to and telling them that this kind of behaviour is not okay. bullying starts out small. It doesn't have to be a big thing. I mean, saying that you'll punch someone in the face, that doesn't mean that it's okay just because nobody actually got punched in the face. Everything starts from somewhere. And these kids are only small now, you know, so this is like, you know, 8 and 9-year-old bullying. It's going to escalate and develop into something much more extreme by the time they're teenagers and they've got more words and they've got more actions and they've seen more movies. It's going to develop and get worse. If these values aren't instilled now, then there's no hope for the future. If these values aren't instilled now, then how could you not expect that these kids are not going to grow up and continue to treat people like shit? You know, if you don't say no now, then when will you say no? And if the kids now at these young, supposedly innocent ages can't grasp the concept of treat people how you want to be treated and being kind to each other, then it's going to be a nightmare when they're teenagers. Things are only going to get worse from here. So please, sit your kids down and talk to them and let them know the simple phrase, treat others how you want to be treated.